politics, yeah. Oh, douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Let's douglAR politics.
Good evening and happy Eid al-Adha to all the Muslim community of Trinidad and Tobago. May the blessings of Allah shower all of us in these dark times. We're talking about dark times, but St. Joseph, you brought some light. St. Joseph, congratulations. Thank you, St. Joseph. Thank you, UNC Warriors. Thank you to the people who came out to the TNT Speaks on Thursday in St. Joseph, where Jolene John, the deputy political leader, mashed up the place. Small pin boy, you should just move out, resign, go and do your interview in the US with Rowley. Go and do something, because this lady mash you up, Small pin, like Chili Bibi. Run it, Archie.
Imagine a man they call him Small pin, behaving like Rambo, who from all comes with a big gun. Small pin, the sugar.
And as we go along, everything in Trinidad and Tobago is in a total, complete mess and tatters. Archie, show them sports ground in Faizabad.
What the Petrotrin ground Faizabad looking like now? Failure. Rain falling in one.
That is a sports ground. A ground where young children, all types, could be training for all different sports, physical preparation. They could be doing their basics for track and field, football, cricket. Elderly people, middle-aged people could be exercising while the children working out. This is the kind of nonsense that PNM puts this country under. And then Rowley come to talk about he's now going to fight crime because he's going to invest in parenting and opportunities for young people and so on in the crime fight after 7 years. And you all just allow Rowley to just come and talk any abject nonsense that he wants to. But sometimes when I read some of the comments and I hear some of my people in Trinidad and Tobago, sometimes I say, boy, we really deserve Rowley, you know. Because I was seeing a situation with a little bongs somewhere in this country, and some fellas take bottle and stone and pelt down at a woman and her child, a girl child, 5 years old. We really deserve Rowley if that is who we are. A little baby around and you pelting stone and bottle over a nonsensical argument. You bouncy lady car, accidents happen. If that is who we are, that nonsense, well, we deserve Rowley, really and truly. The little girl get cut with bottle or glass. I don't know what to say, no. But when we're talking sport, but I tell you all, elections have consequences, and many people in this country, you all need to be honest with yourselves. What is wrong with us? When Kamala Prasad was Prime Minister, she changed everything in sport. When she became Prime Minister, before that, schools to even use their own stadia had to pay $5,000 and things for intercall to rent. Minister of Sport, who Kamala put me, I say all you have to be mad. Them things belong to the people. The PNM used to lock down all the facilities and so on. I say open it. They used to be blocking off the gyms in the stadium. I say open it and let people use it free. Is the people own? I say open it and let them have concerts and charge promoters and people who want to have concert big money so the athletes and the people could use the thing free. All you didn't say nothing. All you didn't protest. All you let this flipping fool Rowley come and put Shamfa Kujo, who don't know nothing about nothing and didn't even want to be in sport. But look what happened now. Show them how the people suffering, Archie. Run it.
Which is the managing body for the Ministry of Sport of all the sporting facility in Trinidad and Tobago. Right, so I wrote an email to them asking for one of the facilities for rent to play football, which is one of the training ground in either the Mani Ramjan or the Atto Boulder on 2 other days, either Saturday or Sunday. Right? When I sent in the email, they received it and they sent me back an email stating that I have to book the ground a month in advance. Right? I am a bit puzzled about that because of the fact that when I went to the 2 grounds on the date that I asked them for it rented, it had absolutely nothing going on the 2 grounds. Right? So I'm saying today that you know, the persons in authority, such as the government, such as the Minister of Sport, need to change his arcade rules that govern our govern taxpayers' facilities. The taxpayers pay for these facilities. These facilities have been locked down for the past 2.5 years. Right? We are saying to them that the youths at this point in time, we are losing the youths. We are losing the younger ones in this country, because of the fact that there are any sporting activity going on at this point in time. When I was growing up, there always used to be some sort of league, football league, some sort of basketball league, some sort of netball league going on. There's absolutely nothing at this point in time going on that could rake in the youths from sitting down on the corner and liming and getting themselves in trouble. In this country at this point in time, it's easier to get a gun than a football in. Right? So we wanna highlight that today, right? And hope that somebody hear us today, right? At the end of the day, you know, we wanna try to make that impact. We wanna try to get the youths off from the wrong path and bring them in. And sports is a vehicle for that. Right? Some of the highest paid people in the world are sportsmen and sportswomen. We believe that the athletes in this country are suffering under the hands of the Ministry of Sports.
Well, that is the truth. And this is what happens when we are not honest with ourselves, when we play games with politics. Because the people are suffering. And when Kamala was Prime Minister, that was not going on. Because this minister increased the budget to assist all teams and communities from 10 million to 140 million a year. It's gone back down to 10 million. But you're all quiet, only this gentleman protesting all across the country. Mash up. They lock up the facilities. The aquatic center, the cycling velodrome, that whole area is supposed to be a beehive of activity so that people, private sector investors would have said, hey, look at this action here. Not only with international, talking about everyday local, with 10,000 children going to learn to swim and learn to dive and doing diving and going cycling and then their parents exercising and family and people would come and invest and put a hotel, put a restaurant, put a little mall, people would sell healthy food, smoothies, whatever. That was the idea, but the PNM come in and lock it down and turn it into a cobweb. Everything. But the elections have consequences, but they don't make you, they tell you don't bother about that. Don't say sport, Kamala. No sport, Rowley. Don't say that. Say African Indian, African Indian, African Indian. That's what they train you to do. We have to start to think. You know, Damien, like that, my brother, boy, I have to say thank you. Because Archie and them know. Archie they say, my boy, you have to remind people what you do until because yeah, I find that kind of blasé, you know. But Lida, come in and tell the people.
By saying, one of my weaknesses is that I can't talk about myself. But one of my strengths is I'm a team player. So I call upon one of my teammates, my senatorial brother, to talk a little bit about the partner. I bring to the microphone Senator Damien Lida.
Well, Anil Roberts set me up again. I write no speech. But good night to St. Joseph and the St. Joseph constituency. Let me hear some noise. St. Joseph, I don't think the boss lady Kamla Prasad Bisesa heard you scream. Let me hear you say, scream for UNC tonight! Brothers and sisters of St. Joseph, how good and how pleasant it is to be with my UNC family in this soon-to-be UNC constituency of St. Joseph. And what an honor and a privilege it is to be called up by my brother, my senatorial colleague, my best friend, my family, the douglAR, and the next member of parliament for St. Joseph, Anil, the douglAR Roberts. Let me hear you sing. Let me tell you something about Anil Roberts. This is one of the hardest working members of this party, hardest working citizens in this country that I have seen. This man, every single week on douglAR Politics, twice a week on the radio, talking about this nasty, wicked Rowley administration, walking the streets of St. Joseph and right here in Arangwes, walking the streets and touching the hands. When is the last time you see the Alsing in the streets? When is the last time? When is the last time the Alsing stopped by the side of the road to shed a tear for you? When is the last time? But this is one of the hardest working men I know. And he was the best minister of sport ever launched by Kamla Prasad Bisesa in this country. I heard my brother Senator Naked talk about the aquatic center. I hear him talk about the cycling velodrome. I didn't hear him talk about the tennis center. And I did not hear him talk when Anil Roberts, as the Minister of Sport, gave this country 83 sporting grounds to the length and breadth of this country. And when...
So that's what you're talking about. It's not about bigging up yourself and ego. It's about serving the people. The gentleman there said yes. These facilities are built with taxpayers' money. They belong to the people, to the children, to the communities. Open them, PNM. Open them and come down from there. So ridiculous. Nothing working in this country. Economy shattered. No businesses. All you think is joke. All you look at this. All you used to go up East-West Corridor and they say East-West Corridor determines in the election. And PNM, the gerrymander, well, look what we get in the East-West Corridor. Look at we mall. Run it, Archie.
Trin City Mall. I walked through here a couple of days ago and I was so depressed. I mean, the entire upper floor of the eastern wing of this mall here, all of the storefronts are barred up. Almost everyone, practically all. This is like a ghost town upstairs here. Look at this. Every store is closed. My favorite craft store is gone. This used to be an area. Look at how bustling it used to be. Now look at it. The eating places have gone. I mean, all of the stores are barred up. And this semicircle area here, practically every store on the upper side is closed with probably, I think...
And if it's not that, your Prime Minister, Keith Christopher Rowley, said on the worst SCA results in the history of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. No big thing, we expected that. No big thing let me read it. Prime Minister not surprised by poor SCA results. Newsday, page 11, July 4th. The Prime Minister said results of the 2020 SCA exams were predicted to be poor based on the disruption of schools for several months during the first year of the pandemic. He said the government tried to carry out the continuing education of children during the pandemic, and for many of these students, That was not the best way to provide them with education, and therefore the falling below the standard is to be seen in that context. And as an outcome of the unusual stressful period, this man could take abject failure, talk to you in a straight face, and present himself as if he's intelligent. You totally failed the children because you shut down Kamla's laptop program. You cut gate, you cut expenditure from before COVID. This downward spiral was beginning since you swore in as Prime Minister. Now you come to say that's expected, that our children are failing. Over 50% could not get over 50%. And how many got zero? Over 1,000 children got zero. And you come to say that you tried to educate them. So what is your job? You came and you shouted to come to become Prime Minister and said laptop program, dunce-head children, look at laptop wastage, and you're giving laptops to all kind of children, you're wasting it. You abject disgrace. And the media and all of our citizens, you allow this man to come in to take decisions and make policies, knowing full well that they are terrible. They are going to work to the detriment of our people, our country, and our future. And when you see it happen, and the results show total failure, total incompetence, you let this man say, well, no big thing, it had a pandemic. Really? How come we're so ready, willing, and able to make excuses for this incompetent fool? Why? If you were to perform so badly in your job, all of y'all who are listening, you'd be fired forthwith. Nobody would make excuse for you. The CEO wouldn't ease you up. CSO statistics, 4.7% contraction of the TNT economy in quarter 4 of 2021. Are 4.7, and the CSO statistics have a time lag. Them is delay statistics, and they're not very accurate. Okay? Because we don't have the processes, the systems, the technology to get on-time, real-time data. TNT's economy contracted by 4.7% in the fourth quarter of 2021 when compared with the third quarter of last year. You know. Are you all understanding what is taking place? Then we had an internal election. Okay? All the men who want to shoo like Mama Pool, oh, Kamla this and Kamla that. She said, come on, let's compete. You all say you are better than me. She said, come on, compete. None of them did. They run and hide like little cowards in the corner because them is only susu, kuya mouth in a corner. Oh, coach, Olia, come now. Them is secret service. Politics is about people, serving the people. You cannot sit in a room, write a Facebook post. Don't touch nobody, don't help nobody, don't sweat, don't walk, don't argue, don't fight for nobody and then want to win election. And when election call, you run and hide. But there's somebody wrote a letter from New York. As we say, run and hide. You in New York, but you're writing a letter down here like, wait, thanks. You in nice New York, where things working, people, decisions making sense, police operating, murder rate low, economy booming, you have jobs, you have education opportunities, your children could go to sporting activities and get the best coaches and the best facilities around the corner. But you in New York, coming to say, somebody called Jay Raka, none of the current MPs, meaning UNC, attempted to challenge her, meaning Kamla, because by now they have all realized that they could be sent to the political cemetery like Vasant Bharat and Dr. Khan. Who send Vasant Bharat anywhere in any political cemetery? If Vasant Bharat decide to bumpy starter, drive to La Perouse political cemetery section, take out a shovel and a spade and a hoe and dig a hole, use water and wet the hole, jump down in the hole, and then use the hoe to rake the dirt on top of himself politically, you blaming Kamala for that? Kamala didn't send Vasan nowhere. Vasan choose to go. Both choose to go where they want. All are invited to join and stand with Kamala Prasad Bisesa. But them want big position. Them only want to serve the people if them have big work. So them must be big work or else no work. Big work or no work. That is their policy, and that's why the people reject them. Who send Fuad Khan anywhere? Fuad Khan ain't going nowhere. Fuad Khan is a staunch member of the UNC. Fuad Khan is working with me, helping me. Fuad Khan is a UNC. Just because he went up for challenge and he lose, nobody discards anyone. All who went up election is about competition. Nothing wrong with that. It's one UNC family. So I don't know what nonsense you talking about somebody send anybody in any cemetery. Now if people choose to go and bury themselves in a hole, what we do is a democracy. Them could do that. Beachgoers at risk as lifeguards protest. 4 major beaches affected. Yet, when we go on in the Senate, Wade Mark, boy, the hardest working man, Wade Mark asked Fitzgerald at Talbot Hines, what is this nonsense? Why are you putting the Ministry of Tourism and all of our citizens at risk? Because you are unable to handle the situation with the lifeguards, just like your predecessor Small Pin with you. National Security Minister Fitzgerald Hines then said, National Security was responsible for the lifeguards. That's what he said. But then he said, a notice was issued to alert beachgoers of the risk of using beaches after the Ministry of Tourism was faced with a walk-off. How the Ministry of Tourism, who is not in charge of paying and negotiating and ensuring conditions of work, adequate time, representation, suitable hours, sack in, sack out, that the Ministry of National Security. So, and Talbot Hines say that when the lifeguards protest working conditions and walk off the job, is the Ministry of Tourism they protested? Fitzgerald, wherever you were sleeping, whatever put you in that slumber, boy, stop it, Stop it now, man. Because nobody really cares about you if you was just Fitzgerald at Talbot in your private capacity. But Rowley, in his dotishness, decided to keep you on as Minister of National Security. After you did your little Kobo sweat to get rid of Gary, but he leave you there because he had nobody else to put there to see about our safety and security. And you are coming here in the Senate to talk nonsense. He continued. Hines said he and a team met with the lifeguards in January, where issues regarding their disgruntlement were discussed. And Hines said, from our perspective, meaning Hines' perspective, which is normally under closed eyes, under the eyelid, that's where he does get perspective from. There are a number of issues affecting the service, including punctuality, attendance. So he now start to attack the lifeguards now. So he attacking the lifeguards. That's what he doing, including punctuality, attendance, general work ethic, and service to the public. Really? Really at Talbot Hines? So the lifeguards are to blame for their woeful conditions, their woeful pay, their lack of place to shower and change, their lack of equipment to fight and keep people safe. It's them to blame, not you. Well, boy, I wonder who to blame for this. Archie, show them where we live in. This is Faizabad, The whole place gone crazy. Run it, Archie. You only see them kind of gun them men have they? Me know what kind of machine gun that is. Broad daylight, number plate, AD wagon, just like that. Run up on a man and riddle him to death in Faizabad. and get away scot-free under the sleepy sativa influence, Fitzgerald Hines. And Hines saying, young children on drugs, children as young as 8 years old are using drugs in some places in Trinidad and Tobago. Really, Hines? I wonder why. Children what? Follow their leaders? What's that? It is sleeping there? Actually, show Heinz. Heinz, is it that you have narcolepsy? Heinz? You tell me about children on drugs? Run it. Let me see this. Let me see Heinz. What's this?
Another answer from Minister Hines, but House Speaker Bridget Anisette George intervened. Mr. Minister, my final supplemental question. When will you resign as an utter failure as Minister of National Security?
Children on drugs and at Albert. But at Albert also come to tell you, the population, and to all the people and families who have people in Golden Grove, in remand yard and in jail. Heinz come to tell all you the jail nice, that his PNM fix it up nice. It air condition, it's sweet, everything nice. That Jayanti Laxmidial was talking about conditions in jail. Jayanti, who is a lawyer now, talking about conditions in jail from 2008. I cannot make this stuff up. You all vote for PNM. This is what you vote for. When the man awake, this is the nonsense he does talk. Run it.
We embarked upon trying to fix the conditions in the prison to meet the high and proper constitutional standard that Justice Gobin and others have spoken about in 2008 and thereabout. So I can tell you as Minister of National Security that we have expended millions of dollars and completed all the refurbishment on the south wing of the remand yard. And we are conducting works as I speak, due to be finished very shortly on the northern wing. Many and all, or the slab bucket of which he spoke, no more. Because in those refurbished cells, they are air conditioned, proper ventilation, proper painting, proper lighting, and toilets inside of those cells. So that the question of slopping out is gone. 2008 she talking about, a long way behind the reality.
See inside of here? Watch it here. You see this here? This is jail, right? And this is a clean cell, right? This is your toilet, your everything here, right? When it is a come and the player in the population, you're going in a cell with 8 men, 9 men, 10 men. You understand? You're sleeping on the ground, you're sleeping in hammock, and above the hammock, it have a next hammock where you're flying up there, and we call it the blimp. You understand? And it's up there, you're eating, you're everything. You want to pee, you have a bottle, you're peeing. You understand? And you're flying up in the ceiling. You understand? When it is you want to go off, right? It's a man inside the cell now, only eating meat, only turkey, everything they want to eat. When they want to go off, 8 all inside the cell, 9 all in. You know what I do? Then they pull a gazette paper, spread a gazette paper, right? And go off on that paper, wrap it up, put it in a bag, tie it, and you go and you pelt it down the corridor because it's in a no tub. You see like how this have a tub here? Well, I doesn't go off inside that at all, because if I had to go off inside that and I had to open that to use that again, that is a bomb day, right? So if it is a feel, it's a ranking thing to come in jail. It's real sufferation and real pain.
And Heinz have all that to say. And meantime, Rowley talking about public health. But it's all right. But when Heinz was talking about that jail cell and coming into the Senate to answer questions with his patently arrogant, it is an amazing thing, you know. When people could be so sleepy, so incompetent, so woeful, overseeing the worst period in the history of Trinidad and Tobago in every aspect, and still be arrogant. I wonder if they are really dreaming. I think Fitzgerald Hines, even when he's walking, Archie, he must be. And then Keith Christopher Rowley says, it is about time that crime is treated as a public health emergency. Whatever that, I don't know what that mean. But wait, I was in the Senate. Archie run it now, man.
I have been asking all and sundry all day today in preparation for this debate, what is the tablet to take for crime? Because the PNM Prime Minister has said it is a public health emergency. So what is the tablet? What is the prescription? What is the pill that we have to take to solve crime? Is there a vaccine that the PNM has? Because this certainly here today will have no effect as we have seen in the last 3 years.
And a few days later, well, even, I want you all to tell me, because even Fazir couldn't understand what is crime being deemed a public health emergency. What utter nonsense. Fazir, come in.
Seeing that the Prime Minister has intimated that our crime situation should be declared a public health emergency, what the hell does that mean? I mean, does that mean that if somebody threatened to kill you, you go to the nearest health center and get 2 paracetamol? I mean, what more has to happen for us to be aware that this government, as has been the case for several iterations of this administration, they are clueless when it comes to crime. Utterly and totally and completely clueless when it comes to the issues of crime.
Clueless on crime, clueless on education, clueless on water, clueless on infrastructure, clueless on labor, clueless on job creation, clueless on wage negotiation. Look at this. Express, Monday, 4th July, page 17. Months, weeks without pay. Lake asphalt workers protest. Despite a last-minute payment on Friday to workers of Lake Asphalt Limited, union leaders led a demonstration through the streets of Labrie on Saturday over their frustration over the late payments of wages to workers. Joint Trade Union Movement leader and Oilfield Workers Trade Union leader Ansel Roger, National Trade Union Center General Secretary Michael Anisette, Ozzy Warwick, and others took to the streets. This is the disrespect of labor by Rowley. Rowley, who took himself into cabinet and created the new phenomenon of the cabinet of recusals, the cabinet of rentals, the cabinet of procurement without procurement, as the procurement legislation was gutted and the PNM so want to legalize thieving, they would not even proclaim the gutted procurement legislation. And you all think what Rowley talking about? He is handling the office of Prime Minister with dignity. TPRSC Municipal Cops probe sandbag scam. Imagine under Bushman Al-Rawi, an investigation has been launched, right? into the Tunapuna Piarco Regional Corporation that the PNM in charge of. Them was even storm coming, you know. But them have people in the PNM who want to scam you to get sandbag to stop you from flooding out. Well, crime. You all asked for it, you all begged for it, you all voted for it, you all stayed silent as Keith Rowley trampled on the Constitution, misbehaved in public office, went to the president's house when he found out that the merit list had been completed and duly signed off on by the majority of the police service commissioners. And he found out that it was done and it was on his way to the big PNM bear in president's house. Rowley went, intercepted the list, talked and whispered into his president's ear. She called the then chairperson of the Police Service Commission, who also was a PNM member of the CDA board, and she broke the Constitution, the law, the rule of law, everything, and withdrew a list. And now we have DCP Dunce, DCP Tojam, DCP Green Verb, DCP who boys and them don't even respect him, they mama guy him and he gone on call out a war against citizens when it's your own police kill the police. Listen to your man, see if you filled with confidence on this acting commissioner of police, hand-selected, hand-picked by the man who misbehaved in public office, so to do, Keith Christopher Rowley. Run it.
There is in fact footage that was captured by our main operational center and is now there, which is evidenced for the investigator. In fact, when these incidents are happening, in some instances it is live captured by our operational center where the CCTV grid exists. So there is in fact footage which was evidenced and provided to the investigator.
DCP Dunce, the footage was captured. Well, where the footage capture and where the captured footage, because if the captured footage had man shooting at the police, then why all you in charge the 3 survivors? And DCP Dunce, well, the footage, share the footage now, because the pathologists say the men and them, the youth men and them was shot from behind, from in the head, in the back of the head. So how they shooting at police? What they have? What is them? Them is Men in Black. Them walking with Will Smith. So show us the footage now that you captured, because them boys who dead. And to Fitzgerald Ethelbert Hines, the Minister of National Security, who came out and stated categorically that the protests that came out, the enraged people who were protesting not only police brutality and abuse of power, abuse of force, but everything else that is going on in the country, from lack of jobs, sufferation, lack of assistance, lack of governance, no health, no sport, no culture, no opportunities, no education, no gate, nothing. Fitzgerald Hines say that he and the police, and they are very close since they selected DCP Dunce, know that somebody paid the people to protest. This is the same PNM nonsense that Stuart Smallpin Young said back in 2018 as Minister of National Security, when the whole country saw 3 men in a Wetman Tida goal with a hand up in the air and they gunned down by police. Now the PCA and so on has recommended charges for all 17 of those that they saw in the footage. But Stuart Smallpin Young said it was UNC who went and paid people all across the country to protest all the black boys who were protesting, because Stuart Smallpin Young and the PNM believe that black people and young black people are too dotish to understand and to see what is wrong and to rally and to protest on their own, that they cannot organize and make a statement. That is the position of the PNM. And you all vote for that? So Fitzgerald Hines comes with the same nonsense and says that The UNC, well, he implied the UNC, but he say he know who, how much, where, and when. Well, tell we now, lock up who do that. Anybody who would pay to cause mayhem and pay people to break the law and inconvenience people, lock them up, Fitzgerald, Sleepyhead, Hines. You must be sleeping and dream that. Well, come out. This is a minister of national security. But you, the media, you, the people, allow them to say what they want, when they want, without consequence. They've turned the Office of National Security between Smallpin and Fitzgerald et Albert Hines into a total, complete joke. And by extension, our safety, our security, and our country. How come you all allow this? What? So who pay the people? Who pay the beat them? The beat them where the UNC can't even get more than 62 votes? Really? And across the whole country? Members of the media, are you all going to ask Fitzgerald et Albert Hines to explain, to state, to be on the record? But outrage, fiery protests, fiery rage across Trinidad and Tobago, chaos in the city, chaos in the city. You all see it, you all saw it, and then Faris the Bushman come out. Faris, they couldn't find et Albert. So Faris come out and he said, 8 arrested, riled up by outside force. And Jacob said, the TTPS had anticipated the reaction of residents following the shooting death. If you anticipated the reaction, how come this happened with chaos? When you anticipate something, this cannot happen, this cannot happen. So you knew that this was going to happen and it still happened. What is really going on? What are you all really saying? Bushman Faris, I don't know what to say about you. But Faris boy, one thing boy, you're trying, you're holding on strong, you get demoted from Attorney General, second in command to Cesspit man, Bushman. But you're trying, you're playing a good game, and you're showing them you're really out there. But Faris, you know in school, they always, you know, you go boys' school and thing, they always have one fella who will fight it. He like Angostura Bitters, he want to be in everything. Always fighting it down. You know, they have a fella who on the bench from Form 1 to under 14, under 16, second 11, always on the bench. And when he get a little kobo sweat, he just sprint on the field and the whole school does laugh. Faris, I feel you are that fella, you know. I never see a man fight it down like you. Faris, you really think this way you're doing it is work? All you run it and watch all your boy Faris. Watch Faris.
The city of Port of Spain is under control. We have all assets out, and very importantly, the corporations have mobilized resources together with the TTDF to clear debris. You notice there's free-flowing traffic. I've personally driven straight through Port of Spain, as has Minister Hines, and I can tell you that traffic is moving well in that direction. There's been some traffic at the Lady Young. There was some debris located at that point, but we've taken care of that. And all eyes are on bus route exits in and out. The municipal police are doing their part of this equation, and the corporation's assets have been mobilized to make sure that debris management is done. I prefer to leave all other coordinates to the Minister of National Security so that the message is not clouded in any way at all. I'm just on site to make sure that our assets are working, and that has been managed directly by the acting Prime Minister, and line of authority goes that way.
In terms of the facility, the swim call facility that's ablaze, that falls under your ministry?
Technically now under Ministry of Public Utilities, but in terms of the resource relief, backhoes, equipment, etc., we've clustered our assets, Sanwa Laventil Regional Corporation, Port of Spain, etc., Tunapuna Piako. We brought assets onto site, we went to work, and you see all debris has been cleared.
Hi everyone, this is Roxy, just introducing you to her. It's the best form of therapy, time spent with your dog. So to all dog lovers out there, pillar to post, we're getting this done, but we're stopping to take some time for a little love and
oh God, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, boy, Faris. Yeah, boy, it's working. You keep doing that, man. Yeah, man. Cool. Right on, man. Yeah, Faris. All right. Hey, but Councillor Meru was a prophet, boy. Hey, Archie, remind them about me, Councillor Meru, boy. Run it.
When they protested in Lavantil, did they get a permit? When they protested in Beaver, why they didn't send you to see if you have permit there? You don't know it to pick on people, boy. I like it, and I'll get moved this evening, you're getting it. No problem. You want to sleep here tonight? You will have to sleep here tonight.
I'd like to know fire.
You will have to sleep here tonight.
I'd like to know fire.
You hear?
Very interesting, isn't it? And then Fitzgerald Hines and the PNM tried to say clearly that the protests were just anti-police. Yes, one of the major issues was the abuse of power, the abuse of force, the use of force, which has been exacerbated and increased since the tear gassing of people who were shouting, "Rowley must go," in the savannah, where the police under DCP Tojam tear gas people, people praying, ladies praying, old people, children. And this DCP Duns, who is only got his job there acting because Rowley misbehaved in public office. Since that, the police use of force has been excessive, unwarranted, and we are seeing across the board abuse of power, anarchy and chaos. But don't get tied up. It was not only an anti-police and PNM police creation. It wasn't only that, because Urvashi went down and interviewed some of the people who was protesting. Run it, Archie.
Around Port of Spain, including the Beetham and Sealots areas. Minister Hines spoke to TTT News and said he understands that there are some who have taken issue with the manner in which a police matter was handled over the weekend.
This has to do with a shooting, a police-involved shooting incident which took place on Saturday morning. And I understand that all that you saw today is as a result of that. In fact,
the protest, which began on the highway in Beetham, soon spread to Sealots, the Nelson Street area, downtown Port of Spain and Lady Young Road in Morva. Mr. Doppelwell said they have made a stand not only for the slain boys, but for the state of things in the country.
And if these message and thing is not sent, these things will continue going on now, just like the increase of food prices, the increase of flour. You understand? Gas raised 3 times and what they laugh at me because it had no protest. And I just showing you the list could go on and on now. You understand? CPO watching big people at the end of it all and offering them 2% and then coming back to 4. So everybody's supposed to be interested with this now because it's just about enough is enough now.
Well, that was not the Urvashi report, but also on TTT. It was there, so same thing, same report, because it's the same truth, that was not only the country is boiling, it's reaching a tipping point because of the total incompetence, lack of heart, lack of consideration, lack of attention, lack of brain, lack of policy, lack of investment of Keith Christopher Rowley and his PNM government. And when you see that, leave him there. Murder toll rises to 273. This was Monday, July 4th. It must be up to about 290 by now, with 15 weekend killings. Bloody hell. And then the Guardian says, crime already a public health crisis. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley on Saturday revealed he is giving consideration to declaring crime a public health emergency. His announcement came as the country witnessed another weekend of brutality and wanton bloodletting. Between Friday and Saturday, there were several violent incidents, which included 9 murders and 4 fatal police shootings. By yesterday, 5 more people were killed. These incidents are indicative of the rise in violence seen in almost every quarter of TNT in recent times, as well as the increasing brazenness of criminal elements. This is all the Guardian, you know. But Guardian, under all of that, you still explain to me what is crime being a public health crisis. Rowley just wake up and talk anything. And the Guardian, just like Emailgate, the newspapers didn't come out and say, Rowley, what nonsense. They are not emails. You wasted time. You called a no confidence motion in a sitting prime minister. You went into the parliament and you read out total fantasy, fabrication, disgusting lies, untruths. What? You didn't say desecration. You didn't say disrespect. You didn't say those things. And you allow that man, that Emailgate liar, to become prime minister. And listen to what he tell all you. While he put this one, he then goes, makes it worse, misbehave in public office to thwart a merit list, get 2 other public officials to act contrary to the constitution in order for Rowley to get a benefit. Look, Rowley benefit. And now Rowley come to tell all you, run it, Archie.
From the standpoint of budgetary allocation, but from the standpoint of national unease, I would say that this violence, which is a public health emergency, has pushed itself up to the #1 concern in our country.
Only now? Wonder why. You see, once again, that's the PNM way. Rowley takes decisions that create a crisis, exacerbate a crisis, and take us into record-breaking feelings of unsafety, insecurity. And then he comes to pretend that he's coming with some analysis of the problem created by him. Now Rowley comes out to tell us we have a parenting crisis and that he is asking people to get out there and parent properly. Now before I choke on the water Archie give me, Rowley, when's the last time you saw your twins down in Victoria Keys? How much quality time you spend with them? Rowley, how much quality time did you spend with your son on the outside, Garter Lane, when his mother you impregnated while you were a teacher and she was a girl of school age? What sort of parenting did you do, Rowley? What sort of parenting? You have pictures all on your Facebook and your Instagram and wherever you could see with your inside children and your outside children. You don't even own up to them. The police who protecting them don't know who they're even protecting in Victoria Keys. Rowley, what are you talking about parenting? Rowley, are you a great parent? What have you done that could be considered great parenting? Please let us know. Is it by fornicating with all the ladies in your cabinet that's great parenting? Just because your wife puts up with you and tolerates you and is a great woman and a good soldier? Her only weakness is that she decided to marry the devil, poor lady. You are a parent? What sort of parent are you to the Trinidad and Tobago children, Rowley? Teaching them about shit kickers and meet me outside and geometry and talking about women, I don't choose your man, and women need grooming. Who are you parenting? A leader has the same sort of authority and influence as a parent. You have been the parent of this country for 7 years, and we have gone down into the chasm of iniquity and immoral conduct, and you come to just tell us that you've noticed that? They're following you, you scumbucket, you disgusting miscreant, Rowley. The country's youth are following you and Foster, who you put in charge of them. And now you're coming to blame parents alone? Where are the resources? He talks about he's now going to put resources now because they were putting resources elsewhere. You are putting resources into your recusals, into your pockets of your friends, family, financiers, and interlocking directorships in all state agencies. And your people don't want to move this man now? Wake up, shake up, and bring some sort of standards back into the politics. This politics of incompetence is unbelievable. I dare any PNM to come out and say one ministry that they've performed well in and compare it to Kamala. One. Take any one. And here, can our people come together? Who would write this? Dr. Boindradat Tiwari, you still around? You still around, can our people come together? But Botiwari, you cannot even come together, because if you and your boy here and your boy there, three all here, if y'all don't get exactly what you want, there is no coming together. So y'all are not the bastions of unity. You all espouse the principle that let us unite once I get a big work. That's what you all say. So what is, I'm not even going to read it. Boy, Tiwari, you only want to come together if you have, my goodness. Anyway, let's move on to the Express. Move them PNM from dinner. Daily Express. You're wrong, Mr. PM. Well, Express. How amazing. This must be the 4th editorial in the last 2 episodes of douglAR Politics that I'm going to quote from you, Express. How have you woken up now? Because the election is over from 2020 and you're now waking up. So you didn't know before the election that this Keith Rowley was this same Keith Rowley. All of a sudden he's just turned bad. He just turned rogue. He just turned arrogant. He just turned dotish. He just turned creating a web of corruption for Noel Garcia to spend all the money and his friends and his attorneys to be in charge of all the nation's assets. He just done so all of a sudden, Express. You're wrong, Mr. PM. The Prime Minister's shutdown of journalist Darren Bahar at Saturday's news conference was misguided based on factual errors, intemperate and unbefitting the leader of a democratic country. Express, you now know that. Patrick Manning didn't tell all of that. You now learn that. When a man would go in the parliament and lie about a sitting prime minister and other cabinet ministers, about conspiracy to murder journalists and so on, and they weren't even emails. You think it could get lower than that? When a man was a teacher back in 1969 and used his position of authority, respect, and reverence to get pum-pum from a girl of school age, you all thought that, what you all thought? When a man who's a prime minister in his first iteration uses power to get pum-pum from the wife of a minister in his cabinet, what you all thought? What you thought Grabby Wabi was vexed for? Grabby Wabi was very upset. Go and interview him. Go and interview Daryl Smith about Rowley's relationship with Daryl Smith's wife then. Go and ask him. And you all now understand? When Rowley attacks everybody, attacks women, attacks anybody at any point with the most vile manner, when he flirts with reporters who are married and mothers, interviewing him, and he said, well, let's get Jinx. And y'all didn't see that scum bucket? Now you know. Now you know this, Express. In a scene straight out of the Trump playbook for handling challenging media questions, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley shouted down the journalist as he attempted to question him about his due diligence prior to appointing Reginald Armour as Attorney General, saying, I advise you, don't go any further. In defending to refuse, and they went through the whole thing. But Archie showed them, Rowley said that the man, he attacked the reporter. Reporters don't make headlines. Everybody knows that, Rowley knows that, but Rowley lied. Reporters don't take pictures. Newspapers hire photographers. They take the pictures. The editors make the headlines. Show them, Archie. Show them the real headline. And Rowley say about appear. You see the word appear there? Rowley makes first court showing in land date matter. That way you're holding your craw for 15 years to not answer a question. But I know the question you didn't want to answer. No? The question you don't want to answer is what you was doing in the States. Did the U.S. authorities pull you in for questioning? Are you assisting them in an investigation involving large amounts of U.S. dollars? Yes or no, Rowley? Did you speak with U.S. law enforcement authorities while you were missing in action? While you were away without leave, AWOL, for 26 days, Yes or no, Rowley? Did the U.S. authorities investigate or interview you, call you in for explanations and clarification regarding large sums of U.S. dollars? Yes or no? You ridiculous clown of a bully. You only pick and choose who you want to shout down at. Shout me down now. Of course. Shout me down. Buff up Anil. I'm so afraid of you, little baby boy. Huh? Bullies are the most sickening human being. Rowley, you're a sickening human being. You stand up as a prime minister and feel proud to shout from the pulpit down to bully a reporter. You mama pool. You flipping coward. You idiot. Eh?
You made reference to a question that I would have sent you via WhatsApp.
I said that?
Yes.
You sent me a question about what?
On the due diligence aspect. So
you admit that?
Yes, I did.
So don't go any further.
So
I advise you, don't go any further.
I'll ask the question.
You know why? Let me tell you why, because I think your colleagues need to know. You are the gentleman who stood outside the Hall of Justice for hours waiting for me to come out of the court when I sued the Integrity Commission. And you waited and took a picture with the bars in front at Carnival time and had me coming out with the bars in front of me, and the headline then was Rowley appears in court. You remember that? I who sued the Integrity Commission, I appear in court. When somebody appears in court, you know what that means? It means that they were taken to court for some criminal matter. That, go and check the archives in the Express and you will find that there, and that was your doing. And you coming to ask me now about the what?
So, let me ask you a question.
I am not going to answer you.
So I don't have any personal grudge against
It is not personal. I am just pointing out the role that the media is playing when there's malice. And if you believe the nonsense that somebody put on social media about me and due diligence, while I am representing this country as the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago with dignity that you're not accustomed to, you're on your own with that. I am not going to go down that road with you. Because if there's another role you can play, you know, but you choose to play this role, and I will not go down there with you. If you know something otherwise, you print it without my comment. Is there any other question?
Sir, on March 16th...
Is there any other question from anybody else?
So on March 16th, you appointed Mr. Reginald Armour as the Attorney General.
But if you all listen carefully, and that's the real story there, but if you all are listening carefully to that clown called Keith Christopher Rowley, the issue was really the due diligence about Armour. But Rowley had something else on his mind. Didn't you all hear him talking? He said, and you talking about, and somebody put something on Facebook. Nobody was talking about Reginald Armour that time on Facebook, on social media. What was put on Facebook was put there by Pierce Robinson, a PNM, who said a high official was being investigated for money laundering and large amounts of money in the U.S. Rowley gets so confused. But her question was about due diligence on Armour before he appointed him Attorney General. Rowley so have on his mind, he not answering the question that Wade Mark asked, that Kamala asked, that I asking him, and the country want to know, were you called in for questioning by the U.S. law enforcement authorities to clarify, to give them information, or to explain large amounts of U.S. currency moving somewhere around you, Rowley? All you didn't notice that. All you did when the douglAR watch something is watch it very carefully. All you after the show finish, go back and look at it. Because that's what he showed down for. Because he did not want to answer. Why? Because he cannot answer. And because what? Rowley has a proclivity for lying. Rowley could lie backhand, forehand, slam, slice. He could lie. But why he can't lie No. Because he does not control those outside. He does not control U.S. law enforcement. So Rowley, we ask you again, while you're shouting down at Bahal reporter and making yourself feel manly as if you don't need horny goat weed, you soft stones, I am asking you, Rowley, were you interviewed by U.S. law enforcement about large deposits of U.S. currency? Yes or no? Answer the question. You flipping bully. You coward. And you all vote for that. And then wonder why our country is so full of evil. People pelting stone and bottle at women and children. Cowards, police shooting fellas in the back of the head. Cowards all around. Because the leader is a coward and a bully. Don't you all understand? Matt, concerned about PM's refusal to answer questions, really era PNM mature. Media Association is concerned with the Prime Minister's refusal on Saturday to answer questions from Newsday. Matt, in a news release on Sunday, said it is vital that officials remain aware of the power imbalance implicit in their positions and those of journalists who question them privately and at news conferences in the public's interest. Oh my goodness, Ira Matur, you really went out there hard to defend your journalists and your media from the onslaught and attack of a madman, a man suffering from dementia, an arrogant bully that is Rowley. I'm sure all journalists now feel secure in the strength of your defense of them. Editorial, Rowley, you know things bad. When one of your gal them had to write editorial on you. No, Mr. PM, it's never personal. Newsday editorial. We condemn in the strongest possible terms the Prime Minister's attack on the media, including Newsday journalist Darren Bahar last Saturday, who questioned Rowley. No one is fooled by what amounted, given the totality of Dr. Rowley's responses, to a transparent attempt to deflect scrutiny and enforce the long-standing culture of secrecy promulgated by really successive government. All you're bringing everybody into this now. So, you see what? This is the Newsday. Judy Raymond. So, Rowley, the most disgraceful, disgusting bully, the abuser of media. You all have to go in and say, oh, everybody does it? Really, Newsday? Judy Raymond? Oh, Lord. Like the honey goat tweet, start back to work, y'all. You really serious? But I'm just showing you all population. This is why these pieces of toilet paper, you must not read them, because they have our country in the state that it is in, because they are afraid of fair competition. So they have to write lies on camera, and they have to try to uphold and pretend that Rowley is humane, because they're afraid of fair competition. The only people who are afraid of fair competition are losers, incompetent people who have nefarious motives and are not there to perform. If you're going to perform and you work hard, you're not afraid no competition. The news continued. In the intervening period after Rowley was in the U.S., incredibly damaging issues relating to the AG emerged, and the country was placed on high alert over possible natural disaster and a deadly spike in crime, so serious that even the Prime Minister himself deemed it, yet again, a public health emergency occurred. But he was basically AWOL, away without leave. The attempt was amplified when Deputy Press Secretary Abby Braffett took the microphone away from Mr. Bahar and told him he could not ask any more questions. People watching on state-funded TTT did not have the benefit of hearing the reporter's final questions. Hear this one now from Newsday. Dr. Rowley has now firmly established himself in the line of prime ministers who have lashed out at the media personnel who were simply doing their job. So Dr. Rowley, according to the Newsday, has only now come up to other prime ministers who attack the media. I can't make this up. This is the Newsday editorial. You see, when you give an editor what she need, you see what kind of nonsense they write? How Kamala go do that? Kamala can't give she what she need? Well, neither now can Rowley, but he gave it before. So it must have some lingering effects. Culture of silence by TNT government. You see, Newsday editor, they pushing that. So Rowley shows you the most disgraceful, worst behavior, bullying, abuse of the fourth estate in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. And what the media does tell you, well, that's normal. All prime ministers do that. What nonsense are you talking about? Daily, George, question PM's comment on AG. Yes, they question because Rowley then comes to the media and lies and says that his Attorney General, Lymore, was not thrown out of the case by the judge. So what they appealing then? And where's Sequel law? And how come his Attorney General is not the man there? What you need Faris there for now as the representative of the government if he wasn't thrown out? This man is just stand up there and lie. Law body to vote on AG no confidence motion on July 15th. But Rowley come, Archie, and attack the Law Association. Normal thing. Once anybody doing their job properly, Integrity Commission doing their job, attack them. Police doing their job, attack them. Special branch doing their job, attack them. Parliament doing their job, attack them. Well, UNC always doing the job, Rowley attack. Me afraid Rowley attack, but and now he attacked douglAR politics. Rowley, you're making me feel sad. How you leaving me out so? Attack douglAR politics now. Attack Anil now. Please, I'm begging you. You're attacking everybody. How we can leave out so we ain't get invited? We want to come in the dance. But look at what Law Association get, Archie. Run it.
So that is why I want to hear nothing from them. And they will not goad me into making any comment about the Attorney General or that matter so that they could go to the court and say the Prime Minister say. And this attempt of trying to get people to talk out of turn or to try to create dust where none exist is to benefit their friends in Florida for the same objective, that there be no trial and that there be a technicality. Their position from day one is that there ought to be no trial in the court. So we are far apart on this. And as for the Law Association, the only thing I'm concerned about, who in this country has the opportunity to pass a vote of no confidence in the Law Association? Because I want to vote.
Well, very interesting. Rowley, you are far apart that there was no case, that the fellas in the airport, Piaco inquiry, Piaco 1 case and so on, they've said and they were saying that there's no case to answer, and you and your government are far apart from that. You find there's a case to answer and they must answer. Rowley, I feel you are suffering from dementia. Rowley, the man who made the submissions back in 2004, 2005 that got the 21 charges dismissed, the man who made the no case submission on behalf of the same people you are now attacking in your press conference is your Attorney General, Reginald Armour. He made the no case submission and all 21 charges were dropped. Even then, Chief Magistrate McNichols listened to Armour, agreed with Armour, and dismissed the charges. What came up after that was 8 more charges that came from a different place. And then came the political interference of John Jeremy PNM Attorney General. And that was now thrown out in the Privy Council because of political interference, reprehensible conduct, and woeful conflict of interest. Rowley, you are such an idiot. Your Attorney General now is the man who was the spearhead, who made the arguments to get a no-case submission agreed to. And 21 charges were dropped. Rowley, you're so lazy, you don't read. And you're such a liar, you don't understand. And your memory bad, and you don't remember what you said when you didn't say it. And you just make yourself sound more and more dotish, Rowley. And just so you attack the Law Association. But it's good for Sophia Chote and them. Because you want to play games and you don't want to live up to your responsibility. And when you protect this disgusting human, you try to protect him as best as you can. But when you're forced to do your duty because you have to follow some sort of constitution, some sort of document, you have to do what you have to do. He attacks you. It's good for you, Sophia Chote and the Law Association. But look what Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj had to say about the Law Association while Rowley, the Prime Minister, attacks the Law Association. Run it.
If members of Parliament raise things in Parliament, it can appear as if they're interfering with the separation of powers. And that is why you have a law association. The law association is supposed to be a very powerful organization taking up the problems on legal issues and keeping the judicial arm of the state in check. The law association of the country is really should be a mouthpiece for the population if they have to take up anything which affects the administration of justice. So really and truly, this may be a time in the history where you need a very strong law association, but you also need a very strong legal profession. I'm going to say something now that it may be very controversial. Lawyers play a very important role in ensuring the rule of law is upheld, democracy is maintained. Lawyers supposed to be a kind of guardian of society, to take up important matters, to criticize the government of the day, and to be prepared to make sacrifices. And that is why in the olden days you had probably many more lawyers getting involved in activities. I remember when I was a younger lawyer, I went all over the country giving speeches, marching. I marched from Cedras to Port of Spain, all sorts of things. I see that the legal profession should be more proactive in protecting the public and in taking up the rights of the people.
And that's what you need, a strong law association. But our law association, since Rowley has become Prime Minister, has been silent. They've been quiet. Imagine a Prime Minister finds himself by the office of the President at the exact same time that a merit list has been delivered, completed, and delivered to Her Excellency the President. The President, by Section 123(4), has a duty, no discretion whatsoever, to send that list onward to Parliament. Rowley spoke to her, whispered in her ears, and she then encouraged another public servant, the then chairman of the Police Service Commission, Bliss C. Prasad, to withdraw a list, breaching the Constitution, breaching the law. The Law Association stayed silent as the UNC and Kamla Prasad Bissessa called the Electoral College and were told we're not debating. Our rights were abused, mics were muted. Independent senators didn't want to hear debate. They just wanted to vote. A lady who was sitting as an independent senator voted on an issue involving her sister. And the Law Association stayed silent. The Newsday now recently just wrote an editorial explaining what a conflict of interest was based on the 1923 case, that even a slither of an appearance of conflict of interest is enough to quash a conviction. But they didn't say that when an independent senator sat in the Electoral College and said, hey, voted on a matter involving her sister. Where was the Law Association? What did they say? when the former Attorney General came out and he admitted, he signed, negotiated and signed an indemnity with a senior counsel who is now a witness in a criminal proceeding. The Law Association said nothing. They came out and did not state what were the authority, the responsibilities of the Attorney General as opposed to the DPP and so on. They said, shh. And now Rowley hit all you some wood because the bullies bully all here. It's so blatant. If you all can't see it, I can't help you all. But it's good for your Law Association. But when you look at it, imagine this Attorney General is still going into the Parliament, into the Senate, desecrating it after he desecrated his profession in a foreign court, signing an affidavit full of falsehoods under threat of perjury. And this man comes into the Parliament and discusses perjury and so on. No, I can't make this up. Munilal, come in.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, when the Attorney General presented this, there was almost a Napoleon moment. You know, it was like a paragraph from the Mimic Men that the Attorney General will speak about perjury and would speak about, you know, false declaration and so on, causing retrial, and in one case, increasing penalty for false declaration. That's a Napoleon moment, Mr. Deputy Speaker.
And yes, and in the Senate and in the Parliament, we refuse to listen to that. You all have to understand, this man, Reginald Armour, Attorney General Lymore, signed his name on a document that stated he was not a senior counsel, that he was not involved. He was a mere note taker when he represented Brian Quaitong and them back in 2004. Total blatant lies. And he signed it. He is in breach of at least 14 of the sections of the Code of Ethics of the law profession. And he comes there and is trying to let us, we must sit there knowing all of this and listen to that PNM Attorney General. Y'all had to be mad. This country had to be mad. And then to hear this convent girl one talking about the UNC being reprehensible and that Armour is honorable. What the hell does honorable mean? The man is a Franco-man liar. Run it, Archie.
Member for Tobago West. Madam Speaker, Member Padara just shouted, "Shut your stink mouth." He must apologize. Okay, so thanks for drawing that to my attention. When he returns, we'll deal with that matter. Attorney General.
Speaker, if you would, it must be put on record that the continuous disruption of this House by members opposite when the Attorney General, honorable as he is about to speak, should be deplored. If they want to leave, they can leave in silence. They can leave in silence, but the continuous disruption should be put on the record as reprehensible.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that a bill entitled An Act to Amend the Interpretation Act, Chapter 3.
Yeah, don't play that clown. Honorable. Reprehensible, convent girl. Convent girl, you know what's reprehensible? Being in charge of the Ministry of Health during a pandemic and 4,000 citizens die. You know what's reprehensible? An idiot who could not pass a pharmacological exam, not listening to the experts and the senior doctors, and in fact putting a man who does paint stage and prepare backstage in charge of senior doctors, lying on senior doctors and shifting them all over the place while people were dying. That's what's reprehensible. Your government is reprehensible as they collapse the economy and ensure that COVID-19 ravaged this country. Reprehensible is your Attorney General being a Franco-ment liar, signed, sealed, and delivered in a court of law. And you're talking about reprehensible. Reprehensible is a teacher who would use a power position to get pum-pum from a little girl. Reprehensible is a prime minister who uses his power position to get pum-pum from ministers who are married in his cabinet. You talk about reprehensible? Convent girl, hush your mouth now. And reprehensible is you going into St. Joseph and leaving the people without a representative, with a school that was 90% complete being left there to be damaged and vandalized. People without water, roads, tires busting. Reprehensible, convent girl, is your representation in St. Joseph. Reprehensible is some of those other things. Put it up, Archie, and let them read it, man. Reprehensible is the owner of an infamous land aid project with gravel rolling all over the place from a hospital. Reprehensible is buying land and building house without approval and people flooding out and drowning. Reprehensible, calling Dunsehead Form 1 children Dunsehead children and telling them also our children are like hyenas in an African jungle. That is reprehensible. Taking laptops from them. Reprehensible. Accused of many women of inappropriate action and sexual harassment. Attempting to bring down a government with fake emails and then finding a lawyer to defend the liar, who's now his Gary Sobers, to discuss and to confess that he went to Lekoto to work beyond Prime Minister Manning and boasting about it when Manning suffered a stroke. That is disgusting. Reprehensible is when our Prime Minister, our leader of the opposition, would leave his wife home and go down in South with Rohan Sinanan and whine on a 17-year-old girl all day and all night. And then she get her HDC house by luck. Reprehensible is approving crooked money in Bridgemans. Reprehensible is wrongfully terminating the Point 14 highway contract and losing $1 billion. Reprehensible is Rowley. Reprehensible is closing down Petro Train when nobody said to close it down. Reprehensible is defending his friend in a fake oil and then putting his lawyer to be in charge of that and not appealing that arbitration. Reprehensible is granting his friend bunkering license. His friend then say, but I had no experience and I didn't know this thing was so sought after. Reprehensible is renting out his cabinet colleague building. All of these are reprehensible. Reprehensible is not getting answers on the death of a little Venezuelan baby boy who was killed as his head was shattered by bullets from the Coast Guard. Reprehensible is allowing the Venezuelan vice president under indictment and 5 paid evasive officials to come in here while citizens could not come home during a COVID-19 pandemic. Reprehensible is putting 123,000 people out of work before COVID-19 hit and another 70,000. Reprehensible is a man who's a total idiot going to negotiate gas price and shutting down the gas sector and the oil and gas energy sector, creating devastation across the country, lack of foreign exchange. Reprehensible is the PNM, Archie. That is reprehensible. All right, convent girl. And there are many more, but I only time running out. I don't know if Archie, if Vishnu got it, but Rowley in the press conference was talking about the bail amendment bill and about he voted as leader of the opposition. He voted with the government and in 2011, 12, 13, 14 and so on. Archie, if you have that, play it.
And I could tell you, I have voted many times between 2010 and now for that. I, from the opposition benches, I didn't take the position then that Remaniad full, or that is only certain people going in there, or that is a right that is entrenched and it should be left to the judges. I didn't do that. When I voted 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, when I did that, it was because I focused on the possibility that that vote would have put a mechanism in place that could give some relief to the police, to the very court.
You heard that, man? And actually, I want you to play that again when I'm finished reading this, you know. I hold in my hand the Hansard of the debate on the Bail Amendment Bill 2013 continued. This debate continued in 2014, the 10th of January 2014. This is the Hansard of Keith Christopher Rowley, the leader of the opposition and the member for Dago Martin West, who just told you in a press conference there, straight face, that he voted with the government as the leader of opposition because he did not come and make any constitutional arguments or anything like that. He thought that it would give a little bit of assistance to help in the crime fight, and therefore he voted for it. This is his Hansard. Let me read from it now for all of you out there. Dr. K. Rowley. But let me take you, Mr. Speaker, to what this is all about. We at the onset in this country know that all citizens under the Constitution and provisions of our law and regulations are guaranteed the right to bail. And not just bail, but bail that is reasonable, that is part of the operations of the country enshrined in our laws. This government, meaning the People's Partnership government, this is Rowley talking, this government stumbling around like blind man's bluff, year 1, year 2, year 3, and making no progress with respect to coming to grips with the crime scourge in the country, decided to revisit the granting of bail and to come back to the Parliament with a whole basket of offences for which bail can now, if it is passed, not be granted. We say up front, we are not prepared to support that. Keith Christopher Rowley. This is the truth. This is the record. This is the Hansard. Let's hear the liar, Archie. Play him again.
And I could tell you, I have voted many times between 2010 and now for that. I, from the opposition benches, I didn't take the position then that Raymond Yard full, or that is only certain people going there, or that is a right that is entrenched and it should be left to the judges. I didn't do that. When I voted 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, when I did that, it was because I focused on the possibility that that vote would have put a mechanism in place that could give some relief to the police, to the very court, and to the citizens as a whole.
Amazing, isn't it? That's the Prime Minister that some of you voted for. A pathological liar. A disgusting human being. A low character scum of the earth. A miscreant. An abusive bully. Mother Bernie, tell me about Rowley. Don't take my word for it. Hear from an elder. Run it, Archie.
I am here this evening to talk about the mannerism of a man that is in a public office, that call himself, always reminding us that he's the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. And that is how you speak to your journalists. You said that the people in Trinidad and Tobago have a right to question the people in public offices because they are there working for us and we need to ask them questions and get answers. The way in which you treat that journalist, Mr. Rowley, it was very unbecoming, and your mannerism is getting worse. Every time you go out and come back, your mannerism gets worse towards the citizen of the country. And in case you didn't realize, that was a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago that you were going on so with. And then you want to go up for election and get re-elected with that kind of mannerism that you have there. You had to be a madman. You had to be crazy. We had to go right back to what Sparrow sing about education. Because I don't know what's going on with you. Every time you go and come, you get more angry. You get more hate in you. You get more animosity in you. That is what Manning told us, and you seeing it every day. Why did you behave like that? And then you're saying, you are the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, and you do it with dignity. Which dignity? Where was your dignity when you was embarrassing that journalist? You had a dignity there? When you were embarrassing that journalist, were you showing dignity then as a Prime Minister? You and your cabinet need to be removed out of this country. You all are very distasteful, disrespectful, and your mannerism is getting worse. You can't tell me you stay out in California to get a medical checkup, as you say. And when you come back here, I don't know what check they check you, but they should have checked your brain because you're going mad. The mannerism in which you have there, that is nobody that went to do not medical. It's time you start to talk the truth and stop telling lie. God don't like lie. God does not like lies. Satan is the master of lies, and like you join him. Do not do these things to the citizens of the country. When you behave in this manner, you want to go up and say all sorts of things about the opposition leader, which nobody never see her in them kind of behavior there. They never see her behave like that. And look at how you behaving, and you have people adoring you as the God of the country. People of Trinidad and Tobago, let me tell you something. If we don't learn to accept things and say when something wrong, call a spade, God is going to deal with us. This man is way out of order, way out of order. He gone clear now. And you cannot sit down in a corner and join with the brotherhood of wrongdoers and say that what he did was correct. What he did was most distasteful, and that is why we have so much delinquency in the country and crime.
What can I say? Mother Bernie said it better. And Rowley must go. And in order for Rowley to go, we must all unite. 309,000 people require your assistance, your intelligence, your passion, your work. Join with the UNC. Bring your ideas. Our country has a myriad of problems which requires all brains on deck. So unite. This is enough. Unite against the dictator. Unite against that abuser. And ignore the media. They're now suffering. After the country is suffering, they're now trying to write some little morsels of truth. Archie, run it. This is what needs to happen. And the national executive of the UNC, newly installed, is there. One leader, one party, one mission, one country. Run it, Archie.
I am an Olympic coach. I coach athletes to beat the entire globe. So I do not congratulate our honorable leader for winning a local derby. She needs to be back where she earned a position. She deserved a position because of her intelligence, her heart, her soul, her leadership, her unity, and her patriotism. The job that she deserved was stolen from her by a pathological liar aided and abetted by the mass media that is compromised, and an EBC that is infected with Balize juice. So this election, and I am Northeast representative, which means corridor. The PNM say I must win the corridor, so here we come. We come and we invite each and every member of the population to join the UNC, to return Kamla Persad Bissessa to the position that she earned, rightfully so, the Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. So I thank you, the UNC rank and file. The party invites all. Call your coordinators, call your MPs, get your forms from your councillors, sign up, join the UNC ship. God bless. Sitaram. Assalam.
And there it is. So join us. Our country needs you. You're all welcome. All brains on deck. Across Trinidad and Tobago, find your UNC representatives. Go to the parliamentarians. Give them your resume. Give them your numbers. Fill out membership forms. Unite to rid this country of Keith Rowley and the PNM. We are in a total mess. The problems are so far and so wide, we need all to join together. 309,000 plus 2,600 in 2 seats in the East-West corridor, and Rowley will be gone. But we would like to make greater changes. We want to wipe him out, wipe the PNM out, so that constitutional change can be made. We can make changes that will never allow a dictator like Rowley to abuse this country once again. In this time, as we say, happy Eid al-Adha to the entire Muslim community. As you pray, as you break fast, pray for our country. We need your prayers. We need all of our prayers. Pray for our people to be safe, for the crime scourge to be gone, to get rid of the PNM and the incompetence and bring back merit. Pray for merit, merit based on discipline, hard work, compassion, and desire. Good night.